Welcome to the New Hollywood Show. So thankful to be able to bring you new shows every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. On tonight's show, hey, what's up with the new movie, Queen of the Ring? We're going to talk about that. And hey, what's up with Iman Khalif being a biological male? Wow, shocker. And hey, what's up with Sydney Sweeney's recent comments? We'll talk about that. Plus, our guest tonight is the multi-talented actor, recording artist, and author, Dallas Malloy. That's going to be fun, and we'll be getting into a whole lot more. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello, free thinkers, Hollywood professionals, and creatives worldwide. I am Tatum Shank. We are Hollywood for Freedom, and this is our podcast to stay connected with you, our free-thinking industry professionals and fellow like-minded patriots. Hey, as creatives, you're responsible for shaping the hearts and minds of our culture. What you create matters, and what we believe matters, which is this. We believe wholesome ideals and traditional values create a healthy culture. We believe in personal autonomy, freedom, and responsibility. Being a free thinker is crucial. And we believe you can be a healthy creative working in Hollywood, or better yet, the new Hollywood that we're creating. All right. If you're not yet a member of our database, sign up for free at our website, hollywoodforfreedom.com. Our strength is in our numbers, so please join the movement. And hey, of course, no big tech is going to be on our case. So we are encouraging you to join us on Rumble and X, where we can speak freely without censorship. So make sure you're clicking those links, giving us a thumbs up, and sharing those links with everyone else as well. Okay. All right. Now on tonight's show, we'll be talking about the new movie, Queen of the Ring, Iman Khalif being a biological male. Yeah. And Sydney Sweeney's comments. And we'll also be talking in a little bit. So excited for this interview today, you guys. This is going to be great. Author Dallas Malloy. A little quick peek. There's her book right there. Boom, boom. Make sure you're clicking those links to follow notifications for our weekly show. And all right, let's get to it. Get my co-host in here. First out of the gate, he is a co-founder of Hollywood for Freedom. He's the producer of this show, the one making all this happen. As I like to say, the always dapper Timothy Glover. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tatum. How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Hey, I've sort of started to notice that your collar and tie sort of gets more open as each episode goes along. Is that a thing?
It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Yeah, we're relaxing into it, right? We're relaxing into it. Easy. It's like, put the frog in the water and then, when it's cold, and then you can just burn the heck out of it, because he doesn't because it gradually, So yeah, we'll get there. I got a few ideas. I got a few wardrobe ideas coming up. We'll see what happens. But thank you for noticing. Appreciate you're always checking in on me.
You're welcome.
The dapper one, Timothy Glover. There he is. Look at that, guys. He's so dapper, right? All right, let's bring in that third co-host. He is also a co-founder of Hollywood for Freedom. He's a dog owner, and as well as a former Hawkeye from my home state of Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, Siaka Massaquoi.
Hey, Tatum, what is up? I did not know. Oh, man. I guess we're doing curveballs moving forward because I did not know that's what you're going to add into the intro bio. But
it's in it's in the script. You could always find it right there.
I can find it right there. I like to be surprised. I like to be surprised. So thank you. And I, too, noticed you're going with the whole Jim Jordan look more and more. Just rolling up the sleeves.
It's all right.
Open up the tie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Nice work. I like it.
To be honest, I'm running out of same color tie shirt combinations. So I gotta do something.
That's what I was going to say. But I thought I was actually, we put Tim's more on the spot than anyone else.
Right.
He's going to have to go 3-piece suit soon.
Right. Oh man, it's good stuff. Well, hey, if everyone is like logging in on a weekly basis, like they should, watching, a week apart, shouldn't, if you start watching 2 or 3, if you try to, what do they call it when you read, you do a bunch of shows? Yeah. If you try to binge our show, then you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what's with this guy's wardrobe? So
yeah,
keep up with it. Every week we're dropping shows on Monday night, like I said, at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific time. So make sure you're catching the new show every Monday night. And we got another good one tonight, guys. Give us that 3-shot, Tim. Where are we at? All of us together? You got us there? Yeah. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's get into it, you guys. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's jump into our news and notes with the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry.
All right.
let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry, and not necessarily in that order. I got the first article up here today, guys. This is Hollywood Reporter style here. Queen of the Ring review. Emily Bett Rickards brings soul and strength to female wrestling biopic. If you don't know who Burke is, and the vast majority probably don't, this film aims to correct that. A pioneer of the sport who became the first $1 million female athlete in history, Burke was a 3-time women's world champion from the 1930s through the 1950s. A time when women's wrestling wasn't even legal in most of the country. Her story demands to be told, and Queen of the Ring, which served as the opening night film of the 39th annual Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival, say that 3 times fast, largely does it justice. Based on Jeff Lean's 2009 book, the film stars Emily Bett Rickards in a breakout performance as Burke. The wrestling sequences are particularly visceral, with the actors, particularly Rickards, exhibiting such a fierce physical commitment that it's easy to imagine there must have been plenty of off-screen nursing care. The filmmaker might have inherited his talent for fight scenes since his father, John Avildsen's directing credits include Rocky and the 3 Karate Kid films.
Oh.
You know,
there you go.
So cool, right? Like I just like that last little bit, maybe a little foreshadowing for later. We'll see, not to give anything away.
Too late.
But this is fascinating to me, like 1930s to 1950s, not even legal in some most of the states. That's crazy, right? And here you have a film that is telling that story, which is really cool. What do you guys think? You want to go see this one?
I've been a huge wrestling fan, still to this day, ever since I was little, and I did not hear anything about this story. I'm actually really looking forward to checking this out. I love the main actress. A lot of you guys may know her from the Marvel movies. She played one of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of wrestling, so I think this is going to be really cool. Like everyone should go check this out.
Yeah, and it's going to tie in well with our guest today as well. So that's going to be fun. Get her take on this.
When does this movie come out? Sorry.
Well, it's I don't know exactly when. I don't have a date on it. It's it's doing the film festival thing. I don't know when the release is. That's a great question. Something for you to go look up. Hey, if you have
there you go.
If you know, throw it in the chat. If you know when this movie is starting, or if you even heard about it, give us your thoughts. Throw it in the chat and tell us what you think about this Queen of the Ring movie.
Queen of the Ring.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay. So we'll talk more about that maybe in a little bit. Let's move on here to our next article. Tim, what do you got? You got this one?
Yeah, I got this one. So this was in the Daily Mail. Imane Khalif is biological man. New leaks report claims, sparking new calls for Olympic gender row boxer to be stripped of her gold medal. New calls for Olympics gender row boxer Imane Khalif to be stripped of her gold medal have emerged after a leaked report claimed she is a biological man. You wouldn't believe it. The issue over Khalif's credibility in winning women's gold at the Olympics has now been thrust back into the spotlight following an apparently leaked excerpt of a report that claims Khalif is a biological male. Though it remains unclear whether the report is legitimate, the report was initially put together in 2023 via collaboration between French and Algerian expert endocrinologists working in Paris and Algiers. Well, I'm glad that they put the experts. I'm glad that they put the experts on this because, I mean, how would you know? They clearly needed to test. They needed to test. She needed to go to 2 hospitals internationally. There was a whole team of experts that came around this too. Yeah. And really, the report may still be wrong, they think. So, I can understand the confusion going on.
I like how Daily Mail has to cover their butts by saying, well, it may be, just in case you want to sue us. Like, can we just get away from this insanity? Like, this is probably the most insane part of Western culture right now is the fact that this is a real thing that we have to even stand up against. And I'm Tatum was talking about earlier, I can't wait till we talk to our guest about this because this is just I mean, this is a level of cruelty all the way around here.
Yeah, it is.
We need to end.
It's cruel for her to keep her in a delusion. It's cruel to the women that she's fighting. It's cruel on so many levels. and the way that they do this article, they're talking to us like we're idiots. Like, glad they put the experts. Yeah, that's great.
You know what I actually heard? I heard that he still has his dingleberries, so he still has his bells. So that could have been a way to check. If that is true, you can just reach down and have him cough twice.
I mean, they're not serious, are they?
Guys, serious. Here's the thing. Did we really need something to leak to know what was going on here?
The whole thing's just ridiculous. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. The girl got hit in the head, like he was fighting, and she said 45 seconds. She's like, "That's the hardest I've ever been hit in my life." And that's a professional, trained, practice to get to the Olympics, and that's the hardest she's ever been hit. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, it's just so wrong. Just the whole thing, right? Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about it later, I'm sure. Sydney Sweeney's comments.
Oh, yeah.
You got something there, Siaka? What do you got?
Yes, sir. This is fun. So this is from Deadline. Sydney Sweeney calls out Hollywood's industry's women empowering other women stance. It's all of it is fake. I love this article, guys. Sydney Sweeney is calling out some people in Hollywood industry who tear another woman down privately while publicly proclaiming they are empowering women. In a new interview, the Immaculate Star cited the industry's attitude of women empowering other women as untrue. Boy, you love to see it. It's very disheartening to see women tear other women down, Sweeney said in an interview with Vanity Fair, especially when women who are successful in other avenues of their industry see young talent working really hard, hoping to achieve whatever dreams that they may have, and then trying to bash and discredit any work that they've done. She continued, this industry, all people say is women empowering other women. None of it is happening. All of it is fake and a front for all the other ish that they say behind everyone's back. Oh, yes. Thank you, Miss Sweeney, for saying it. Just like Kamala Harris's campaign, all that pro-women stuff in Hollywood has been fake since Me Too came out. It's been fake. And I'm so happy that you have, especially a female actress coming out and just calling it like it is. These people will cut another woman down in a heartbeat if they make them feel just a little bit good about themselves. But that's me.
It's a shame, you just got to wonder what she's seeing on her side of things, to make a statement like that. But it is a shame. It really is. It really is fake, most of it. It's virtue signaling mostly. It's to make someone look good or appear to be virtuous, but really they're not. So, call it out. It all just needs to come to the light.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I got no comment on this right now. I want to get to our guest.
Well, that's why it's got to be about meritocracy, right? Because if it's about meritocracy, then we get a chance to, like this whole virtue signal just because it's a woman, like, no, we need to get back to talent and skill level so that this doesn't even have to play a part in it and people aren't moving around with that, that issue going on. It's crazy. So let's get our guest on here after this quick break. We'll get into more of these topics after we kind of hear more about her story. And she's a fascinating woman. I'm so excited to be able to sit down here and hear more about her story from her directly. Her book was fantastic. Read her book. It's awesome. But getting to hear straight from her, it's going to be awesome. So Dallas Malloy is going to come up right after this quick break to mention another new sponsor right here on the New Hollywood Show. AdLife Academy, academic excellence of private school with a customization of homeschool. At AdLife, we believe in cultivating leadership, fostering a love for learning, and building a foundation of love through caring for others. With personalized in-person learning, small on-site class sizes, and a strong community, your children's potential is unleashed in an environment designed to nurture their mind, heart, and spirit. AdLife Academy is more than education because we prepare your child academically, mentally, and emotionally for life. Hollywood for Freedom is proud to partner with AdLife Academy because this school
with locations already in Pasadena and Pomona, is soon to be opening a Center for the Arts in Hollywood as well. We believe that there is no better way to help generate meaningful avenues for our members to thrive or reshape the culture identity of Hollywood and to build strong families. Our partnership with Ad Life Academy aims to provide the education, the community, and the support needed for you to do just that. If you have children and are looking for an alternate to their current education, we invite you to get more information. Scan the QR code here or click the link in the description to make an appointment with Ad Life directly. There is a button right there on their homepage to join a 30-minute in-person Zoom info session every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 or 11 a.m. Ad Life will also be running an on-site open house event in December, which you can express interest in attending by leaving a comment in the chat below, emailing us at info@hollywoodforfreedom.com, or messaging us through our website, hollywoodforfreedom.com. Enrollment is open now for January commencement, so reach out to Ad Life Academy today for a life-changing experience and to support Hollywood for Freedom by letting them know we sent you. All right. So Ad Life Academy, new sponsor on the show today. So thankful for their support of our show here. So glad to sponsor the show today. I'm thankful for that. Hey, listen, if you're an industry professional or a supporter of Hollywood for Freedom, make sure, if you haven't joined our database, to go to our website, hollywoodforfreedom.com. Join the database. Over 600 industry professionals currently in that database, looking to change how Hollywood works, how it's working over here in the new Hollywood. Make sure to click the links now and join us on Rumble and X. Don't forget to click the follow button for notifications of our weekly show. All right, here we go. Today's guest, Dallas Malloy. This is going to be good. Dallas Malloy, 2023 International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, is an actor, pianist, recording artist, and coach. She's a former bodybuilding champion and portrayed herself in Jerry Maguire, the 1996 comedy drama starring Tom Cruise. Buddy Tom Cruise. Narrates her true story in the opening as she boxes towards the camera. She lives with her husband and precious cats. Dallas, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
There
so great
is.
to be here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I got like 3 things right out of the gate. I got to ask.
Good.
Okay. First of all, everyone's going to want to know how many cats. So how many precious cats?
3 cats.
3 cats.
Yes.
Okay. 1 husband, 3 cats. Very good.
Yes.
And then check this out. This is her book, everybody. Stand Up and Fight. So she, all those things that I just listed, plus an author now, and she wrote this book, this fascinating book, telling her story, and just loaded with all kinds of just encouragement and just faith over fear type concepts and things like that. So, Dallas, let's and then the third thing, backing up to Jerry Maguire, the journey from there to here. Like you had talked about this in the book, like being like one of the first people, or maybe the first person to drape your flag over you going into the ring. Is that, did I read that correctly?
Yeah, it's so crazy because, pioneers always take flack for everything. And I'm not going to say I was the very first person to do that. I don't know that for sure, but it wasn't a thing back then. It wasn't a common thing. Yeah. But I remember thinking I want to do this because it's like, because of what I had to go through just to even get in the ring, which was a whole battle in itself. Right. It was like, I'm celebrating, I'm proud to be American, and so I'm going to do this. But yeah, I even got some flack for that. So the battle that you're talking about is like, you had to battle to be able to be a woman boxer, right? It's kind of like, that was kind of unheard of and not a thing. And you kind of, like in the opening of Jerry Maguire, they talk about that, you kind of pioneering that sport, which is pretty cool. That's right. Thank you. They had, and so, people always love to criticize, and they'll be like, no, they had boxing back then. Okay. So they had professional boxing, women's boxing, but they didn't have sanctioned amateur boxing for women. They just didn't have it. And the rule book for USA Boxing, which is the governing body, said female boxers shall not compete. So it just wasn't a thing, sanctioned. So it wasn't legal. They didn't have it in the Olympics, and, so. Yeah.
So you had to fight for that right. And then here we are, fast forward to like, now men are trying to jump in on you, right? Like, all right, get ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let me get the other guy. Let's get the guys in here. Let's get I know they got questions they want to throw your way as well. Siaka,
Hey Dallas, good to see you
Hey,
as
Siaka.
always.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you're standing in here and you're a writer now, as well as all those awesome things that Tatum pointed out, and I think that cross gives it away a little bit, but I don't know if many people would be able to see it outside of getting in your book, your faith. Can you explain how your faith, from the standpoint of getting into boxing, pushing you through the hurdles you were facing there, to standing up for what was right, that a lot of us went through in 2020 and 2021, and following the journey of like groups like Hollywood for Freedom and what you're doing now to even become a writer? How important was your faith kind of, helping to push you through? And were you always a Christian? Were you always a faith, or did you come to it in the process?
Right. Thank you for the question. No, I was not always. I was an atheist. And I was.
Hey, me too.
Yeah. Oh, so nice. Thank God I overcame that. Literally.
Yeah.
So when I was raised in that atmosphere. It was, intellect was king, intellect and reason, and those are good things and they have their place, but they're not everything. And right. Being without that sort of, any sort of spiritual tools, I went into all kinds of things, and ultimately I pretty much attribute to my boxing career being cut short mostly because of alcoholism and drug addiction and being in toxic relationships, and just I didn't have the tools to really combat those things or to avoid those things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's many reasons for that in it, and that's very layered. I mean, there's genetic components and physical components to being an addict. But anyway,
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's complex. But
right.
But I think, and hindsight's 2020. There's no point in going back. But I'm grateful for everything. I have no regrets. It's sad in a way that it happened the way it did. But I'm grateful for what I achieved in boxing, even if it was cut short. And ultimately, what happened was, just fast forward to not take up too much time with it. But I will write more about this, although I do cover some of my getting sober story in the book. But it's when your back is really against the wall, just like they say, there's no atheists in foxholes. So there's a point where I don't need to be right. I don't care anymore. I don't know is right. The answer. And so if there's a God, please help me. I can't live like this. I mean, I was very self-destructive. I had suicidal thoughts. I mean, that was for years, even before I was really in drinking and drugs and stuff. But so it's a whole pattern of thought. I mean, now I would see it as pretty much summed up under the category of spiritual warfare.
Right.
And so there's that. So it wasn't until I got sober that I started to have faith. And I wasn't a Christian then, but I was like, okay, there's a God and it's not me. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great beginning. That's a beautiful beginning. And it just grew from there. And, yeah.
I love that. It's like when because I knew it wasn't easy to jump straight to the God of the Bible when you've been out there in the world for so long, and recovery really gives you, as we know in the Bible now, gives you the piecemeal, right? You can take a little bit at a time, and it's getting you there. So very similar. I had to go through that way because I couldn't hear the Bible at the time, So I understand. Thank God you're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dallas, nice to meet you on the show.
Too,
Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
It's clear to me, you've had a very interesting journey, right from being an artist, piano music, and then as I see your journey right up to writing a book, but you've been in bodybuilding and all of these things. It's clear that you're very driven and very high achieving. What is the key to keeping motivated to the extent, and is that when you're talking about alcoholism and some of the challenges that you've made, how has that journey been for you, doing these huge things throughout your life?
Great question. As far as for the first part of the question with the key, the motivation, I can't really tell you what that key is because I've always had that. I can call it passion.
Yeah.
There's a personality trait of openness, which I seem to possess, which can be great and terrible.
Yeah.
now that I'm aware of it, and I've, been through recovery and I'm, I'm working on my faith on a daily basis. I'm able to manage that. But when you don't have those tools and you have sort of this boundary, no borders, no boundaries, that's a super dangerous thing.
Yeah.
When you're young and naive. So I think, so that passion going in the right direction, it's great. It's like, I'm going to master piano. I'm going to take this piano piece and I'm going to master it. I'm going to write music. I'm going to compose. And I'm just like, I'm on the negative side, it's a form of greed. On the positive side, it's a form of passion. I'm hungry. I have a lot to get out and I have a lot to express, and I'm hungry for learning and being challenged. I really like that. Weight training is the ultimate metaphor for that. I like resistance. I like fighting. I get bored easily. I get restless. So I want something difficult, but something I can achieve and overcome and then be better for it, which almost sounds like, don't stop doing that to yourself. But no, I'm not creating problems, but it means I'm not afraid to take on challenges. So that passion's always been with me since I was a little kid. I get inspired. There seems to be I'm compelled to do something. Music is really powerful for me. It's like it pushes me to things. And then then recovery. What was say the last part of the question? I want to make sure I answer it right. You were saying, how is that related to recovery?
Well, just, being driven to achieving such big things through your life. What has been, I guess, the motivation and the balance that you've, do you feel more balanced now, knowing Christ, maybe getting a little bit older? Have you mastered that in any kind of way? Have you sort of got better at finding a balance in your life?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. And thanks for repeating that. I just want to make sure I got it right. Definitely with balance. Yes. Because that's, as as a kid, there is, at least for me, there wasn't really any balance. It was just sort of, I'm compelled in this direction, so I'm just going to go all in on everything. And I'm going to go all in on that, and then it's going to be the next thing, and I'm going to go all in on that. And again, it can be great or terrible, but now there's a point where, and I used to joke about, because I tend to go to extremes, that means I'll find balance, because sometimes the pendulum does have to swing all the way one way to get, back to the middle. Since then, I've done enough things where I realize, okay, things don't have to go terribly bad, and then it doesn't have to be so everything's so treacherous all the time. And now, of course, my motivation is completely, thy will be done. God, what do you want? What do you want from me? Show me the way, because I am fully persuaded that his way is the way. His way is the best way. It's the best path. There's no question. And I was beaten into a state of reasonableness when I got sober in order to understand that and to be open to that. Siaka knows what I'm talking about. and I'm grateful for that. So that would be my motivation now.
Well, the thing that, and talking about like a spiritual influence and God, and that's one of the things I love about the book. Like, it's packed full of like scripture, and just like every chapter you got scriptures that I'm sure that have inspired you and things that can inspire others. Right. But that aside, obviously, spiritual warfare. I know you are like minded with us on that. But the book itself just has stories of things that have just, that you've gone through, and just like some heartbreaking things, like being a pianist from a little child, right? Learning as a kid, and then having an opportunity to go see a concert. And was it Beethoven? Yeah. And then being told you couldn't because you wouldn't put an experimental drug in your body. Yeah. Like, how that was a heartbreaking story. It's like you had this opportunity and they just wouldn't let you. And then, I mean, just the title of your book, Stand Up and Fight. Yeah. Like, that's something I've seen. Like, you've been on this journey with us from the beginning, and we even talked the other day about this, how we have, from the beginning, there's people that have stood up and spoken there, and you're one of those people, and I commend you for doing that. And just speak to that, like the madness that we had to go through and that could come back, and we just have to continue just to stand up and fight against, that oppression, if you want to call it that. I don't know what the right word would be. You know what I mean? But just tell us like how to overcome that fear of like, you know, going up against those battles that you're gonna have to fight with people over and over again. And how do you do that?
Absolutely. And, you know, and God bless you and all you guys for also standing there. Cause I remember you from the very beginning. And that whole situation, I never again want to hear anybody say, how could something like the Holocaust happen? How could people possibly do that? I'm a good person. I haven't heard that lately. I hope people have woken up to that. You and I both know, you guys know there's still people that are just living in a fantasy. Yeah. Right. But I know exactly how it happens. It starts exactly like the lockdowns, and it doesn't start overnight. It's little things. Oh, health. It's for health. Yeah. You know, see the air quotes, and it's, you know, it's this group, and it's ostracizing one group, and it's othering this group. And so I think, and you know, and it's interesting, and you know from my book that when 2020, when that happened, when all the craziness started with that. Just to use that time frame, there was plenty of craziness going on before that I was completely oblivious to. That woke me up. By the way, I was on the left before. 2020 is what shook me, and I say that because it's true, but also aware that it isn't just about right and left. It's about good and evil. Right. That's what we're in. We're in spiritual warfare. So that's the bigger thing going on. But still, I was still by default, like I wasn't that political. I was one of those people that I was just kind of not really paying attention with that. I was busy with my own stuff. I don't want to be bothered to, you know, think about it, whatever. And maybe I'm being too harsh, but that's how I say it now. But I was in that mindset. I also had just gotten separated from my husband. And so I was already in this state of, on the one hand, just heartbreak and depression and grief. But at the same time, and we all, you know, if you've been through anything, you know, it's sometimes your worst times that end up being the best times because that's when you're ripe for change. And so then here come the lockdowns March. You know, I lost, you know, my job. They closed down, stay home, do this. And there was that initial shock. Like, good, I'm tired of being around people. I live in Los Angeles. Stay away from me. Good. I'm happy. You know,
we're all like that in the beginning.
To be fair, that first 3 weeks was glorious, though.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, man. No planes.
Oh, please.
It was just quiet. That was great. But
it was
in LA.
Exactly. It was. I mean, it's, you know, you live in the city long enough. It's like I could just to talk, going back to balance really quick, to balance out, I'd have to be a hermit for like at least 5 to 10 years just to even just to get my equilibrium back. Anyway. All right. But so during that time, just come through the separation, 2020, everything changed. All those beliefs that I had were challenged and shaken and broken off of me. Thank God. And it forced me to really look and really wake up. And I'm so grateful. And there was a point where, and I describe in my book how I felt sharpened like a blade because it was painful. And so this employer that I had offered me those free tickets, and I appreciate live classical music, especially more than, most people. It's such a gift. It's such a dream. And I don't always have the opportunity. And so it was just one of those things. And I found out you can't go. And it's just like, there were already so many things. Every day was like, which battle do I fight? Anti-white racism over here. Can't have this job over there. Oh, all these people are persecuting me online. Oh, lost these friends over in this place where I used to volunteer. Now they're ostracizing me. It never made sense. It never made any sense. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It was, the Will Ferrell line. And I realized at a certain point, and it might have been closer to 2021, where and the theater, the music tickets was just one of those points where it just pushed you a little bit more of the edge. Right. And I mean, in a good way, in awareness. It's painful, but good. But it was just one more thing. And it was such a stupid, cruel, unnecessary, idiotic, completely mindless thing. Like, shame on all those that went along. And I mean, I have to work on forgiveness, but we won't forget.
Don't we all?
We all do. We all do. But the thing is too, and people forget this, and just to make this point is like, you forgive, but that doesn't mean justice isn't still required. Justice still must be. I forgive, meaning I'm not going to walk around with the pain, and I don't. I'm free. And this is the thing. This is the beautiful paradox. Even at that time, I remember feeling like, I understand now. There comes a point where you realize you're willing to die for the truth.
Yeah.
And if they come to my house and they say, "Hey, roll up your sleeve. We're giving you this," you're going to have to kill me because I'm not doing this.
I think that's a really good point. I think that's the decision we all had to come to. You know, if everything was to shut down, your life was to totally change.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that? Or are you going to lie to yourself and lie to others?
Right.
And do all the things that you know are wrong in order to keep things the same.
Yeah.
You know, and that I think was the decision that we were all faced with. And it was very interesting to watch which side of that line people were willing to stand.
Yeah. That's, I mean, that whole time was like just such a crazy time for everyone. And that line got drawn in that sand, and it was really obvious who your friends were and who were standing with you in this fight. And there was that instant connection, right? When you met somebody else that was willing to stand up and fight, like, you know, stand up and fight, like you say in your book here. And it's fascinating. Your story is amazing. People have to pick up this book and read it just for the inspiration. Again, throughout it, facing your fears and having courage. And you do a lot of that, like just encouragement for others and just to hear your story. But I want to take a little break here, and then we'll come back and maybe get into some of these other topics with you, Dallas, get your take on these things we were talking about earlier, and just talk more. This is fascinating. So hold on right there. We'll be back after this quick break from a word about our sponsor, Serene Oils. Back in a minute. Experience the purity of God's creation with Serene's all-natural essential oil blends. Each blend, carefully crafted with the finest essential oils, is designed to support your well-being and bring a sense of peace rooted in His presence. Let the essence of Serene draw you closer to a life of harmony and grace, reflecting the beauty of the Creator. Serene essential anointing oil blends are handcrafted, prayed over, and made with 100% pure and natural ingredients in Los Angeles, California. Serene essential oils are crafted for versatile use, whether anointing your space, praying for the sick, enhancing health and well-being, or creating a calming atmosphere to rest in His presence. Each blend is a tool for blessing others and inviting peace into every environment. The anointing oils come in 10 milliliter roller bottles and are crafted with love. When you buy 2 or more, you will receive free standard shipping using the promo code H4F. Make sure to try the new best-selling Hollywood Hope blend, crafted with lavender and lime, and to remember to pray for Hollywood. Order Serene today. So thank you, Serene Oils, for sponsoring the show. There's a little... Got mine right here. Pretty cool. Yeah, right. Anointing oil. Very cool. Pray for Hollywood. Pray for the new Hollywood that we're building as well as we expand. Hey, Tim's got his. Tim's got his right there. Get your bottle. Get your bottle. Everybody.
I'm going to anoint.
Look at that.
Wait.
I'm going to anoint myself right now.
That's a lighter. That's a lighter. That's not. I didn't get one of those, Tim.
Hey.
Whoops.
Listen, whether you're
no, that's not it.
Jock is still trying to find his bottle.
I'm trying to find mine. This isn't it. This in the mail. There it is. This isn't it either. This is a screen cleaner. I can't use that.
All right. Hey, guys, listen, whether you're an industry professional or a Hollywood for Freedom supporter, remember to go to our website, hollywoodforfreedom.com, join the database for free, and make sure to click the links now to join us on Rumble and X. And don't forget to click the follow button for notifications of our weekly show. All right, let's get Dallas back on here and talk about some of these current topics, shall we? Queen of the Ring. Dallas, have you seen Queen of the Ring or even heard about this movie?
I haven't, but I must see it now.
Right?
I heard you talking about it. It sounds amazing. Of course, it's making me think about my story and how I definitely still need to get that on the big screen, but it'll happen.
That's my all right. That's my question. Yes, Dallas. Thank you for reading our notes early. Oh man, I got to change some things. Since
beat us to the punch. She beat us to the punch. Yeah,
That's what I do.
go.
That's what I do.
Yeah, she's
I
a
know
puncher.
that's why
She's a
she
puncher.
does that.
There you go.
So you're an artist in all ways, and I love that. And this is one question was like, are you going to put your story on the big screen? And the second question to follow up with that, as an athlete as well as I guess you would think of traditional artist, because I would, our story is kind of similar in that sense. Can you maybe express to athletes that what we do is a form of our artistic expression and how it translates pretty easily over to, you know, whether it's music or acting or something like that too. So I'd love to hear your take on those 2 points. Are you going to make a movie?
Absolutely. And that's, thanks for asking. The interesting thing is, back when I, you know, was it still boxing, and I had the first ever sanctioned match, and, you know, there was a lot of publicity, and because it was a, you know, a historic thing, and Paramount actually did buy my story.
Wow.
There was a script written. They were going to make it. You know, it was finished, but then it got shelved. And it's one of those things that, in hindsight, it's good, because, as I said, my boxing career was cut short. I was not, you know, I went to the other extreme shortly after that bout, and it would have been bad. And so the last thing I needed was a 6-figure check or something. So fast forward all those years later, look, this story is much more interesting now. It's much better. There's a lot more to it. And the through line between boxing and fighting in life. I mean, I could tell this story in 1,000 different ways, but I also need to be the one to tell it. And so there's that too. And so being an adult, you know, because I was a kid back then, and it's just like, I was kind of being pulled in many directions, and like these adults want this, and these are over here, and my parents are saying this, and it's just like, you know.
Was there any indication as to why they shelved the movie?
The exact words, and again, this is like a million years ago, you know, everything's so different now, but they told the screenwriter that he wanted Flashdance, and she gave him Rebel Without a Cause.
Huh.
Which is weird, because it's a story about a 16-year-old. So that's kind of gross.
Well, it is Hollywood, so.
It's Hollywood, though, so there you go, baby. But it's, you know, who knows? That's what they said, but it's fine. It's good. I need to tell this story. I can't. And through these years since then, I've explored it in different ways. I've thought, well, I'm going to tell it this way. And, you know, the writer I was working with, we kind of toyed with the idea of doing maybe a series, and it just hasn't been right. And, you know, I'm doing all these other things too. So it just hasn't been quite right. But I do want to tell it. And of course, now what has to be in it is some element of faith. I mean, and that wasn't even in it before. That wasn't even a thing. I didn't know God. I didn't have that. And it's like, how that's going to play out, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard because it's me and I'm in this. And so maybe I just tell that portion of going through that. I don't know. But I do love to help and inspire people. And there's nothing like a true story to say, hey, look, this happened. This is what I went through. This is what it was like dealing with the press back then. I remember my first interview and getting misquoted and being like, oh, I mean, that, like, I learned early on about that, and just, you know, those sort of things that it was a lot, you know, as 15, 16. So anyway, yes, I would like to see that on big screen.
But like you said, there's so many elements to your story that would just be really, really awesome. And to weave in the spiritual element, that's, you know, that's just gold right there. That would be fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you've done so many things, Dallas. Like, I mean, now, is this the first book that you've written?
Right. Just the first one. Yeah. But I have 4 more I'm working on.
Sure. Why not? But before this, you know, like professional bodybuilder and recording artist. I mean, you have music out there, right? Like that's
got
crazy.
5 songs published. Yeah.
5 songs published, you know, a pianist, right? Like, you know, from a kid, like there's so many things you got your hand in on, and it's really just, it's awesome. And thank you again for coming on the show here and just sharing your story with us. This is really great. Siaka, you have questions?
Yeah, so the second part of the question, the athletic to artist, because I know a lot of athletes that in growing up with, that I went to school with, I played ball with in college, as I was pursuing the arts at the same time, that's who they were, but they didn't I think maybe you can talk about how when you're an athlete, it really labels you as that's who you're supposed to be to everyone, and maybe give some hope to, hey, go express yourself in this way too. It really translates.
Absolutely. And you'll get this, but I just see so many parallels. To me, it's all discipline and challenging yourself and overcoming and mastering things and patterns too, and rhythm. I mean, boxing is like, every time I've taught a client how to hit the speed bag, if you've ever done it, it's da 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 da. It's like it's a waltz time. It's 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's like there's so many parallels, and just the progression of learning and repetition, just constant repetition. And so much of it, it's not glamorous. It's just the pounding out the chords and the scales, or the road work. And or the reps, for weight training. So there's a lot of parallels, and I love both, and I do think it is artistic to be an athlete. And as far as encouraging people, I've just never put limits on those things. And of course, I know it's human nature to do this, but people, and this is one of my maybe flaws with marketing. I'm terrible at marketing myself. I should pick one thing. Everybody just pick one thing and focus on that. I'm like, how? It's all me. I can't do that. I don't know. But people tend to go, oh, you're that. Oh, you do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, what, boxing and piano? Like how, but your hands, it's like, you don't, it's not different to me. It's all interesting. And because one is more, not so much now, but especially at the time, some people thought it was cool that I was boxing, but I always got flack for it because, again, you go back to that thing. When you're kind of the first of something, you always it's always later they look back and they're like, oh, that was so cool. Here's, you're being inducted into this Hall of Fame. Great. Thank you. At the time, though, it's like, well, why would a girl want to do that? It's just like, oh my gosh, why not? I don't know. Just because it's who I am. I don't know. So I just encourage people to look, you can't, who cares what people think? I just kind of always default back to when I was a kid, and I'm not saying this is great, but I found myself saying a lot during interviews, who cares? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Because it was all these stupid questions of like, why would you want to do that? And look, this is my favorite one because it's just silly, but why would a pretty girl like you want to box? It's like, what? I got that question. Like, what?
Usually because I'm a pretty girl. That's why.
That's right. I want to keep myself pretty with the defense. That's what it's for. But maybe I like my nose kind of bumpy. I like that. It's cool. I don't know.
Speaking of pretty girls boxing,
nice transition.
Yeah, sure.
Smooth.
What about males boxing as females and this whole nonsense that we have to deal with? Are you involved in any way in like fighting back against that? Or are you just being vocal and speaking out and saying how ridiculous that is? Or like, you give us your take on that. I think it's a pretty obvious take, but involved anywhere to kind of help like waylay this kind of craziness we're in?
I would love to waylay the craziness. The entire chapter 6 in my book, titled "This Is Not Over," is all because of when USA Boxing made that decision, December 30th of, it was 20, gosh, was it only back then? It seems like it was 10 years ago. Too much is going on. All right. But, they decided they're going to let biological males compete. And it wasn't a surprise because of the insanity that we've been seeing in this woke mind virus. We've seen it. We've seen this move, this sinister move being, all of these ideas being infiltrating every major institution. So it was really no surprise. But yes, so that whole chapter, because I was pretty much done with the book at that point, and then here comes this thing. So I spoke on it. And as far as speaking out, absolutely, I've spoken out online. One of my videos, it was actually my first video that went viral. It was, for me, it was close to 400,000 views. And I was I was saying, look, they just announced this. This is crazy. Are you really gonna stand for this? I'm not going to sit here and be bullied. I'm not going to be gaslit. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these ideas. This is insanity. The burden of proof isn't on me to explain why it's wrong. The burden of proof is on the people pushing these stupid ideas that are completely unscientific. They go against everything that we've ever known. They go against all common sense. And I just, there's not really more to be said. You know, if I was in a room with someone, they want to debate me, fine. But you're going to have to prove to me, and they can't, which is why they always resort to name calling and things like that. They're going to have to prove to me why this is a good idea. There's no way this is a good idea. And an interesting thought I had is, you know, we know that the people pushing these ideas, this radical left movement, this globalist movement.
Satanist.
Okay, Satanist. Yeah, exactly. It's all kind of the same thing. Yeah,
the
right?
enemy.
Evil
the enemy.
people.
Yeah, that's the ultimate. Yeah, is, you know, they are exactly the opposite of everything they say. Everything they do is project. All they do is lie, cheat, project. And the things they claim to be are actually the things that our side is. It's funny. You know, all these words that they've bastardized. Compassion. There's nothing, where's the compassion for all these girls that are getting beaten? How about that volleyball player that has brain damage because of getting spiked by a guy?
Still having issues today.
Yeah.
Right? 2 years later, isn't it? 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. But you know, compassion though, right? Compassion. Where's the compassion for her? Or, you know, how many girls have to get raped in bathrooms, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think, you know, even in your book, I think you made a comment of like, you know, I had to fight to get into the ring as a woman boxer. And then here we are. I'm standing up fighting against like men being in the boxing ring with women. It is insanity. I think that's the main, like the word that I keep coming back to. They're just insane with these thoughts. Like it's crazy. It's crazy town.
Yeah. Talking about this, well, let's go there because the evil cabal, right? Yeah. Did you notice, and I'm going to cut to it, this photo of her?
Oh yes,
geez.
the one I
Did you
just saw
notice that?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Right?
Illuminati, right?
With the big smile, with the evil smile.
It is
too.
evil, and it's a cabal. It is Masonic. It's the
right.
You know, these are the things that they have to symbolize so that people know whose side that they're on. I mean, this is all an agenda.
Absolutely.
And the symbolism is there. I mean, you know.
You're totally right. Yeah, I hadn't seen that picture, but yeah, as soon as you pointed out, at this point, we are so past the point of conspiracy theory. Like I didn't even want to hear that. Okay. Yeah. You have to be so asleep, so in denial at this point to not see the orchestrated move that's been going on. I mean, every major institutions, you know, from the top down, universities, all, you know, big corporations, like the entire DNC, obviously, you know, it's just, and, you know, there's enemies on both sides. Again, it's bigger than left and right. It's just concentrated on the left, but it's like these, you know, I know some people that are still kind of living with their blinders on, and if I say something in the conversation about this situation, the insanity of it, they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, there's far right and far left. I'm like, this is all far left. Okay, the right has moved slightly to the left over the last 20 years, let's say. The left has moved way, way, way left. So way far. Left. Yeah, way left. That even since November 5th, we have seen people kind of, you know, step back a little bit because they're yes.
Anytime he had mentioned, he makes an appearance.
I love it. It's great. It's great. It is. People say I would never say that, but I think. But yeah, it's you know, it's amazing and exciting to watch this. So people are waking up, but yeah, we have to make no mistake that this is absolutely real and it's by design. And I mean, I still say sometimes I can't believe I have to say this about, you know, men and women's locker rooms. And it's just like, I can't think of anything more stupid, nonsensical, cruel, not compassionate, not inclusive. Right. All those, I'm so tired of euphemisms. And that's one of the reasons I woke up and moved to the right and really stripped, sorry, I'm moving so much. I stripped all those beliefs were stripped off of me that I was raised with and that I just that were never really challenged in me.
Right.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, there's really only one answer that makes absolute sense, and that it is good versus evil. Yes. This is evil. Like, there's no reason a man should be allowed into a woman's red. It's just pure evil.
Yeah.
And people behind that evil are just, you know what? I don't even think it's their fault. They're just, I don't know if they're possessed. I don't want to say they're possessed, but they're definitely influenced in a really, evil way to be doing the things and thinking the things they're thinking.
And maybe Dallas, you can speak to this, but as you know, you used to be an atheist. I used to be an atheist. When you don't have anything, you will worship something.
Yes.
And everything, if it's not the Lord, it's opposite the Lord. So you see people like the good-hearted people in your life and all that, they jump on the new thing because it's not the crazy Christian. I'm into, like you said, intellectually, it's not that. So you speak to that, like individuals really, to me, it's lost or found. And so many of these lost people now start to jump on this. And when you say something, it shakes them because that was supposed to be their railing, where somebody could say something to us as Christians and it's like, all right, you're lost. You don't know what you're talking about. Right. Can you speak to that? Because you were, it sounds like you were found and you can see what people are like out there.
That's so true. And I love how you put that. Absolutely. I mean, it's like the saying, if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything.
Right.
And when you're just open, again, it goes back to that openness thing. If you're very open, and I know a lot of people, it used to be this thing of like, I'm open-minded. Okay. Yeah. But don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out. Right. That whole thing where, you can be open. It means have critical thinking, examine, use reason, but ultimately, like, it's one or the other.
Right.
And you have to, you can't just play neutral. There is no more being neutral, because you're being faced with something. You're being faced with good and evil, and people could try to skate by because they don't want to make people mad. I crossed that line so long ago. It's just like, you know what? I've gotten so much hate online, but then I get so much support, and definitely more support than hate. The hate tends to stand out because it's just so heinous and disgusting. But it's like, I do pray for people. I pray that their hearts are softened and that their minds are open in the right way. They're open to God and to hear the truth.
Yeah, that's
very good.
That's really good. Yeah, like, and we've talked about this on the show. We make sure we're praying for our enemies, right? Because they don't sometimes know what they're doing. Yes,
and that's the difference.
Tatum saved us the other day. It was I was going to come in with fire and brimstone, and Tatum came in with, "Hey, remember grace." I'm like, I'm new. Grace. I'm still learning.
Hey, but look, Dallas, this is fascinating. Get to know you more and just hear more of your story. And this has been really, really great. I want to hold you through our next segment and have a little bit of fun with you before we get out of here with some final thoughts and whatever. But this is what we call our Blast from the Past movie of the week.
Good morning.
Morning.
Axel Foley. That's what it is.
You are Terminator, right?
Yes.
All right. Our Blast from the Past, a movie of the week. This week, you would think it might be Jerry Maguire, but we already talked about it a lot. That could be an honorable mention. But this week's Blast from the Past movie of the week is none other than Rocky, the original, starring Sylvester Stallone, Carl Weathers, and Burt Young. How good is this movie? It is so good. Like, you can't, it's amazing. Quick story. And here's one thing I love about this movie. I heard an interview. Stallone was talking about they were going to cut this one scene because they were running out of time and they didn't have, like, we can't do it. And he's like, wait a minute, it's the whole movie. Like, I'm talking about going the distance. You can't cut this scene. It's like the scene where he talks about if I could just go the distance, right? Yeah. And he fought and fought. He said, well, he's like, okay, well, we have one take. We can only do it once. And it was a slow movement with a camera. And it was just literally one take, no cuts. And he had to deliver that penultimate speech in the movie.
Wow.
And it was amazing, right? And it was just so good. And he comes in all the way to the end. He's like, I just want to go the distance. Great movie. Dallas, you gotta love this movie, right?
Absolutely. That is one of the best movies ever. Just as a film. The script, everything about it, it's so perfect. That is a perfect movie. Oh yes. That's one of those movies. You watch it every day.
Yeah, that's so good.
So good.
Did anyone know that Sly was a Trump supporter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's always been conservative. No, well,
I knew he was conservative. Yeah, I knew that. But I was a little bit surprised recently. I don't know that I'd heard him come out that way. Did you guys know that?
I mean,
yeah.
You mentioned it again. Have you seen The Expendables? I mean, man, with all those men and guns, I was like, that's gotta be a Trump supporter. It's gotta be a Trump supporter. Although I love that first Rocky, not my favorite Rocky. I'll have to go when Rocky beat Russia all by himself.
Rocky IV.
The Soviet Union all by himself.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Just that whole series is just amazing.
The whole series is awesome.
Number 5, but that's okay for the most part. That whole series, But in the original Rocky, it opens the opening image of the film. It's a cross or Jesus, and in the they're fighting in an old church or something. That's where the ring is set up. So it starts on this image of the cross and then pans down to the fight, and Rocky's beating.
There's not too many movies that get your heart rate up like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the soundtrack is great. Like everything is just, it's so
go
good.
watch it. If you haven't seen this movie, if you're like, 21 years old, you're like, what's Rocky?
Right.
Go watch this movie.
Go sit down with Rocky and put your phone away too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So good. And we were going to have a special mention also to this with $1 Million Baby.
Yes. Cause
forgot we were going to do that special mention to that
because you're a female boxer and it starred a female boxer.
Made sense. Also one of Tim's favorites. One of Tim's favorite movies.
Thanks for putting that together, Siaka.
Hey, in this day and age, we're just talking about it. We need to be very clear. Some people, they don't know
1 + 1
equals every time.
That's right.
Every time.
Every time.
Hey, listen up. Hollywood for Freedom is all about gathering artists together and encouraging healthy living, whether it's here on the podcast or working on a production or at live events. We just believe that when professionals thrive, the content will too. And hey, speaking of events, we're actually going to another screening. Angel Studios' newest release, also another movie from Angel Studios here. It's called Homestead. It is out in theaters this Christmas, and you can join Hollywood for Freedom to watch this movie. We're going back to the Thousand Oaks AMC Dine-In 14 Theater where we saw Bonhoeffer. But Homestead, the film, is going to be a Friday, December 27th at 6:10 p.m. So go to angelstudios.com, get your tickets now. Join us out there. If you don't know,
our friend Jared's in there, huh?
Jared Lemaster is going to part in this movie. We're excited to see that. If you don't know anything about it, it's a post-apocalyptic story of survival and starting over. But get your tickets now and meet us there. Hollywood for Freedom goes to the movies. All right. Okay. So final thoughts, everyone. Let's do final thoughts and get out of here as the time is going here. Yeah. Dallas, let me tell people where they can get your book. Tell them where they can follow you. All the 25 places they can follow you.
I know it's so much. It's
whichever is most important. Just let them know where to follow you and how to get that book, especially.
Absolutely. I'll keep it simple. So my book is on Amazon. So Stand Up and Fight, Words of Courage from a Women's Boxing Pioneer to Unlock Your Faith and Conquer Fear. So you can go to Amazon. You can get the hard copy, softback, paperback, whatever, ebook, however you like it. Get the book, get some encouragement. You can also check out my website for the book, which is standupandfight.us. And if you go there, you can also click to order from there. It'll take you to Amazon. But if you scroll down, my socials are there. X is the Dallas Malloy. If you want to follow me on X, that would be great. And I'm all over the place, but go to standupandfight.us and you'll find everything there.
That's awesome. All right. Final thoughts, guys?
I'm following Dallas right now as we speak on X. Yes. Final thoughts is in this crazy world, trust in God. Trust in God. The attacks are, as Dallas just explained, numerous and boy, are they crazy.
Yeah.
Tim?
Final thought from me is Dallas's movie needs to be made in the new Hollywood.
Yes.
Where conservatives are going to make it the right way. That's my final thought.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I would just say my final thought would be just to take a impetus from the book Stand Up and Fight by Dallas Malloy. Just conquer your fears.
Hold it up again.
Faith over fear.
Yes.
Stand Up and Fight. There it is. Faith over fear. Lots of encouragement in this book. It's a really great read. Go check it out. and support Dallas Malloy. And thank you for being on the show. Well, that is our show for today. I want to thank our sponsors again, AdLife. Appreciate the new sponsor on the show today. Thank you all for joining us. We are the new Hollywood for Free Thinkers, where being a creative doesn't mean you need to sacrifice wholesome ideals, where freedom and family is a good thing, and where you can be a well-rounded, healthy creative working in the new Hollywood. If you're not yet a member of our database, please go to our database, website at hollywoodforfreedom.com. Join the database. There you go. Gets that order right. You got to go to the website first, then you can join the database. Our strength is in our numbers, so join the movement. And remember, don't trust big tech. Follow us on Rumble and X. Thank you, AdLife Academy and Serene Oils, our sponsor on the show today. Thank you, Dallas Malloy, for being here. And thank you, Tim and Siaka. Appreciate you guys so much. Hey, new shows drop every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Until next time, Galatians 5:13.